Welcome back to Seeing Life from a Different Angle. I am apologetic for missing last week's podcast. Other things occupied my day, my time. So I'm back this week, and I wanted to thank you for listening. And thank you for taking the time to listen. I know that, it's busy in our lives, too busy in our lives. And to take the 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes to listen to this podcast, I appreciate you doing so. I hope that you're getting something out of it. I was taken to task, and I put that in quotation marks the other day by my wife, who, thankfully keeps me honest, keeps me fair. And one of the things that she had said to me is we were talking about humility, and especially about, as the topic began, I was talking with her about, my desire to be, a servant to others, to help others, and to work toward helping others. And she said, well, make sure that you do that with the right motivation in mind. And I paused for a moment because I thought, okay, I have the right motivation in mind, don't I? And then I got to think about it, or to thinking about it. And, it started me questioning, okay, well, what is my motivation for trying to be a servant for others, to help others? And it got me wondering whether or not I am doing it more for egotistical reasons, something that would gratify my own ego, something that would satisfy a status quo psychologically within me, or whether or not I was doing it for some healthier reasons, and the intent and straightforward honesty of this is that, during this past year, since August of last year, I will say, my life has really taken a major change. I had for the longest period of time pulled away from my faith. I was born and raised a Roman Catholic, and my parents would take us to church every Sunday. I think like most Catholics, that was the extent, for the most part, of my Catholicism, was going to church every Sunday. And, we would go to 10:30 Mass, go home, and move on with our lives on Sundays as normal, waiting for Monday to come and for us to go to school, for instance, which I despised. Though, that changed over time when I got to college at Virginia Tech. But be that as it may, different story, different day. But I think starting in August of last year, a lot of changes were occurring in my life. A lot of things were happening. And I think one of the things that ended up happening was that there was a great humbling of myself. I felt like, I had been on top of the world. I was achieving things, great things in my practice as a therapist. I was coming up with new ideas, and yet I think the one thing that I noticed about it all was the depth of loneliness in that space. And not something that was very satisfying. I mean, granted, you can have all the wonderful thoughts in your own mind, but if you are lonely in doing so, if you are disconnected from those that love you and care about you, it is pointless. Trust me. And that, I've been in that space where, the only things that seemed to matter were the things that mattered to me. And that really wasn't the case. It's not the case. I think it's one of those types of things where we recognize when we do see it that we leave others who matter more than us behind by thinking that we are the penultimate, that we are the one to think about. And we can put it under the guise, yes, we can, whether it's humility or whether it's work or whether it's, fame or any other number of things. We can put it under the guise of saying, yes, I'm doing this for them. But the truth of it is I was doing it for myself. And I like the feeling of being someone that people would want to come see for therapy, that I didn't have to advertise. They would just come see me because I was me. And the sad reality of it is that, while they all achieve good treatment, and some of them excellent treatment, hopefully all of them excellent treatment, one of the things that I realized was that it was empty. After everything was said and done, it was empty because, my focus of therapy was not on doing what was healthy for me. And what I mean by that is, I had moved so far away from God. I had moved so far away from my faith. There were many Saturdays when I would not go to church with Mary, and I would stay home, and I would do other things, saying to myself, okay, I don't really need to go to church. I don't need my faith. I don't need God. I don't need anybody. And the truth of it is, that's the farthest thing from the truth. And so when Mary said to me, make sure the motivation is a healthy one, what she meant by that was, are you doing for others as Christ would do? Are you being a servant of all for Christ's purpose, so that Christ can be seen in your actions? Or are you doing it so that you can be seen in your actions? And I think it's something we have to all ask ourselves. It requires a lot of looking inside oneself, a lot of soul searching, to really make the determination what my motivation might be. Am I doing this to maintain the status quo, psychologically speaking, trying to keep things going as they've always been? Or am I finally making a change? Am I finally saying to myself, I'm going to do something different here. I'm not going to be the same person that I was. I think a lot of it may be considered or come down to this one question, which is, if I were to die a year and a half ago, would I be ready to die? Would I be able to say, I know where I will go, and I'm satisfied and joyous about that? I couldn't say yes. I couldn't say yes a year and a half ago. But now I can. If something were to happen to me today, I would be sad at some part for my family. I would know that they would be sad, and I would be sad for them. But I would not be sad for me. And please, don't take this as a statement that I would like my life to end, but I will say this, when it comes down to it, would I rather be viewed or seen? After everything is said and done, I'm ready. At this point in time in my life, at this moment, I'm ready to be viewed. I am of the belief that, I need to focus my energies on what it is that God needs me to do, what path He's leading me on. And so I can say, as much as I want to hold on to life here and celebrate it with Mary and with the kids and with the grandkids and the new grandkids on the way, I believe that with my faith, and despite the fact that, yes, I remain a sinner, I do things that I shouldn't do, I think things perhaps that I shouldn't think, and I would encourage you, to find someone in your life like Mary, someone that'll challenge you, someone that'll say, make sure you're thinking and doing the things for the right reasons, for the right motivations. It's more important than you could know. I hope that these simple words, I hope that they bring something to you, and that at some level or another, they will help you to recognize that there is more to life than ourselves. That even in serving others, our task is to make sure that we're not doing it so that we have the glory, but that the glory belongs to Christ. Peace be with you.